Hi everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the financial jargon and find the real stories behind the numbers. This quarter, Alliance Resource Partners, or ARLP as they're commonly known, dropped a doozy of a report, and let's just say there's a lot to unpack, especially when it comes to how they're navigating the energy landscape. Alright, so ARLP is a big player in the natural resources game, mainly digging up and selling coal, but they're also getting into oil and gas royalties and some interesting tech investments. Think of them as a company trying to balance a reliable old school business with a peek into the future. Now let's jump straight into the numbers. One of the most eye-catching figures is the company's cash position, which stands at $55 million as of June 30th, 2025. That's a pretty significant drop from the $137 million they had at the end of last year. This dip mainly comes from a large outflow of cash used in financing activities, a whopping $211 million in just 6 months. What's driving this outflow? The report details repayments on long-term debt, equipment financings, and distributions paid to partners totaling a hefty $181 million. This tells us they're actively managing their debt and returning capital to owners, which can be good, but it also means less cash on hand for more immediate needs or unexpected opportunities. Looking at their revenues, we see a bit of a mixed bag. For the 3 months ending June 30th, 2025, they brought in about $547 million. That's down nearly 8% from the same period last year. The main culprit here is a drop in coal sales, bringing in about $62 million less than the previous year. This 5.3% decrease in coal sales is largely blamed on lower prices. They're actually selling more coal tons, up by about 6.8%, but the price they're getting for it has fallen by over 11%. It's like selling more apples, but at a lower price per apple. The company points to older, higher price contracts rolling off as a reason for this. Now let's talk about profit-making ability before certain expenses, what they call segment adjusted EBITDA. For the 3-month period, this figure dropped by about $19.7 million, landing at $122 million last year. This is directly linked to those lower revenue numbers we just discussed, especially from their coal operations, which are down 3.2%. In their Illinois Basin coal operations, a key segment, their EBITDA actually dropped by about $3.8 million, even though they sold more coal tons, lower prices, and higher operating expenses, like those for materials and supplies, took a bite out of their profitability. It's interesting they note that material and supply cost per ton dropped significantly, but this was offset by other costs. The Appalachia coal operations paint an even tougher picture. Their segment-adjusted EBITDA took a nosedive of over $15 million, a huge 35% drop. This segment is really struggling with lower production due to challenging mining conditions, leading to fewer tons sold and lower revenue overall. But here's where things get really interesting. ARLP made a big impairment loss of $25 million on an investment in a company called Ascend Elements. This happened because Ascend did a deal involving convertible debt, and it seems ARLP's stake in the company lost significant value. This is a clear sign of the risks involved when investing in newer, less established companies, especially those in the evolving battery materials sector. Scroll, digital asset storage. Speaking of interesting investments, ARLP also holds digital assets, mainly Bitcoin. The value of these digital assets surged by about $16.6 million in the recent quarter, thanks to the rise in Bitcoin prices, which is a neat little boost to their numbers. It shows they're not afraid to experiment with different forms of assets. Scroll, our strategy is to provide our customers with reliable baseload fuel for electricity generation to meet load expectation storage. Looking at the bigger picture and their strategy, ARLP is trying to stay relevant in a changing energy market. They're focused on being a reliable fuel provider while also investing in future energy and infrastructure opportunities. The fact that they're making these strategic investments like in Ascend shows they're looking beyond just coal, which is a smart move given the global shift towards cleaner energy. However, the significant drop in EBITDA and the struggles in their Appalachia operations highlight the challenges they face in the current coal market. Scroll believe that existing cash balances, future cash flows from operations and investments, borrowings under credit facilities, and cash provided from the issuance of debt or equity will be sufficient to meet our working capital requirements, capital expenditures, and additional investments contractual obligations. commitments and distribution payments. Storage today seem confident about their liquidity and ability to meet their obligations, pointing to cash flow, operational performance, access to credit. But remember those large financing outflows we saw earlier. While managing debt is important, it does eat into readily available cash. Scroll advances of prior service cost storage. On a more technical note, the company had to adjust its pension plan obligations. The amortization of prior service costs went up slightly, which is a standard accounting adjustment, but it's worth noting how these long-term liabilities affect their balance sheet. Scroll, our ultimate exposure, if any, should litigation resume, will not be material to our results of operations or financial position. However, if our current belief as to the merit of the claims in these lawsuits is not upheld, if litigation were to resume, it is reasonably possible that the ultimate resolution of these matters could result in a potential loss that may be material to our results of operations. Storage. Finally, there's a legal matter concerning unpaid overtime for employees. ARLP has agreed to a settlement for about $15.3 million with a court hearing expected later this year. Now for my take. ARLP is navigating a really tough industry. They're in coal, which is facing massive headwinds from environmental concerns and the rise of cleaner energy sources. Their strategy to diversify into oil and gas royalties and new energy investments is a good one, but the recent financial results show the coal business is still facing serious pressure. The drop in coal prices and sales is a significant concern, and the challenges in Appalachia are a red flag. The impairment on their Ascend investment also highlights the risk in their diversification efforts. They're doing a decent job of managing their debt and returning cash to investors, but to truly secure their future, they'll need to see a strong turnaround in their coal segment, or for their new ventures to really start paying off. It's a tightrope walk for them, balancing legacy operations with future bets. They need to see a strong turnaround in their coal segment or for their new ventures to really start paying off. It's a tightrope walk for them, new ventures to really start paying off. It's a tightrope walk for them, balancing legacy operations with future bets. Alright, that's our breakdown of Alliance Resource Partners' latest filing. What do you think of their strategy and their financials? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this decoding helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives. And hey, we've got a great community over on Discord talking about these filings and more, so come join us. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.